My friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics on Friday, March 12th, and an exciting video that is coming your way because, in case you had not seen it, it is a rather brutal day for U.S. Treasury investors as the bond market is getting absolutely clobbered, destroyed, tatered. I'll check in with some bond experts. We may have Old Man Kranzler coming up later on in the show today. Not this particular show, but hopefully I think we're going to do a call later. Aside from the Lehman Brothers days, I don't know if 11 basis points is in record territory or not yet, but that's big. And when the yield goes up 11 basis points, that means the price is getting clobbered and a lot of people are losing a lot of money. And again, this is ahead of the Fed meeting. I'm surprised they made it till this meeting, March 16th to 17th. Although actually maybe that shows my own naivete, because it sure looked like there was some hidden hand in there, whether it's the plunge protection team or the exchange stabilization fund. It looks like somebody acted ahead of that meeting and just, as it seems to increasingly be the pattern, just not tell anybody else. But in either case, let's take a look, because here, 10-year Treasury yield jumps to highest level in more than a year. Climbed to its highest level on Friday after Joe Biden signed his stimulus package into law and announced he would direct states to make all adults eligible for a coronavirus vaccine by May 1st. How noble of Joe. I'm wondering, again, I'll be the first to admit, I was going around my flying saucer this morning, so you should probably discount this, but just, I don't know. Is there any chance that the 10-year Treasury yield is jumping, not because the Fed thinks that, or the market thinks the Fed is going to start raising interest rates, but maybe it's because Joe Biden just spent $1.9 trillion that the Fed is going to have to print, and these guys don't seem happy about it. The yield briefly reached 1.63%, which now I get it. A lot of people are saying, well, that's still an incredibly low yield, and they would be correct. But when you pile on enough leverage onto anything, these moves start hurting. It's kind of like if the stock market drops 1,000 points, if you're on leverage and you get margined out, that can be a lot. And direct payments of up to $1,400 for most Americans. I did check in. I'm waiting for an update. Should have one today about the silver Ben Bernanke throwing $100 bill out of a helicopter figurines. Maybe we'll have to change that. I wonder if they'll send Ben in the helicopter to deliver the $1,400 checks. How cool would that be? Anyway, investors will be watching for next week's Federal Reserve decision on interest rates and commentary. We may have to do a live show for that one. That'll be fun. Bring margaritas. If the bond market sell-off intensifies leading up to the March 17th FOMC decision, just on a rare chance, we all listen to Squawk Box to get the scoop, the Fed may finally have to push back against the move in Treasury yields. I'll look up somewhere later how it's being priced in, the probability. Well, I guess they can't cut rates. I don't know. Maybe they'll go to an overt negative rate. I know that sounds silly, but I mean, so does everything else the Fed has done. And in either case, we'll find out. The 16th, I believe, is Wednesday. Wow, 5 days I have to wait. Jeez. Well, fortunately, there's going to be a date I'm excited about ahead of that, which some of our true conspiracy theorists might be aware of, the Ides of March, which is interesting. The Romans considered the Ides of March as a deadline for settling debt. Apparently it didn't go so well for Caesar that day either. And would you go figure what happened last year on the Ides of March? This date was actually, where did my other link go? But they actually did that Sunday night quantitative easing announcement that people waited 50 years for. It's like those Federal Reserve officials timing it on the Ides of March just to make it more theatrical for a future movie that maybe that's what I'll do to entertain myself this weekend. Anyway, quick look at silver while the bond market is getting pummeled. Now, I would say traditionally, at least according to what I learned at Wharton and during my time on Wall Street, if investors are fleeing the bond market because they've seen central banks going out of control, directly monetizing debt, traditionally, throughout thousands of years of history, they go into gold and silver, but you can see that is not the case here. Look at silver in the midst of all of this mayhem. You can see how investors just can't get rid of the stuff quickly enough, which makes a lot of sense. Although fortunately, you know, it's one thing just to put that chart up, but let's get our volume chart. If you'll give me a minute while you look at the silver price, seeing it's a bit down there. But if you can be patient enough to let me pull up the chart with the volume, I'm sure there will be no useful clues on that one. And while we do that, waiting for that to load, we'll take a look at the gold chart, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something called gold. Not quite as cool as silver, but you can see gold. Wow, in this environment. Yes, I know there's a lot of articles, investors, because now the yield on the treasury is almost positive in real terms. So that makes the appeal of gold less, I've been reading, because the yield on great credit quality like US treasuries is going up. So the reason to own gold has been diminished, despite the fact that they just printed $1.9 trillion, or getting ready to, which actually is interesting because the money is now going out, but probably hasn't been created. Maybe they will mention at this exciting, I hope there's a press conference after this one. So hopefully someone on Wall Street will ask Jerome Powell, where is the money going to come from to pay for that? That's what I don't get. Although what I did get was my chart to download. So I'm going to pull that up here a second. And then I'll look over into the comments field. I'll stop for a second and we'll look in the comments field. Maybe somebody else can explain what, if they're seeing anything on here. Usually there are no clues in these price and volume charts. Now, I know Bart Chilton confirmed that often when something's right, the handle gets nudged. Kind of like this was right at $26, as you can see there. And then a bunch of volume picked up, dropped off a cliff instantly, did that again at the 25.80 level. Now, usually that is what happens, but does not seem like there's any evidence to support that today. So anyway, and I'm sorry I don't have, well, actually I do have the comment window open. So you go in there. It's a little bit of a delay on my end, so maybe one of our users has figured out if there's any connection between the price and volume on this one and the silver chart and the bond market. Let's see, maybe it's recovered. Let us check again. Highest level in more than a year, ahead of Ides of March. Well, does that mean what they did last year didn't work when they bought all those bonds? If we're coming back on a year, the fire is roaring hotter than ever in the bond market. 163.5 at the moment. Let's see if anyone has figured out. All right. Print. Someone thinks I'm drinking. No, I had some water this morning. I think the Fed might be drinking for breakfast. I'm not sure about that. But fortunately, I just took my dog out for a walk, got some fresh air. I don't see print. Nothing we can do about it. Fed, print. Cheers. So that seems to be the market's analysis. Certainly more insightful than what the CFTC is presenting. Anyway, before we wrap up, I would like to mention we did have some news from First Majestic Silver today. And let's take a quick look at that, because First Majestic Silver has announced the acquisition of the Jarrett Canyon mine in Nevada. It's nice to see when I woke up this morning, that was in my email inbox. First Majestic and Sprott Mining are pleased to announce that they have entered into a definitive agreement whereby First Majestic will acquire all of the issued and outstanding common shares of the Jarrett Canyon Canada Ltd. from Sprott Mining for $470 million in shares of First Majestic, plus 5 million First Majestic share purchase warrants. Concurrent with the acquisition, Eric Sprott, president of Sprott Mining, will complete a $30 million private placement investment in First Majestic. So there you go. Congratulations to First Majestic and Eric Sprott. Two other notes I've been meaning to get out here. Actually, we'll do three because we did have news on the Mexican tax situation that I've been meaning to mention. So before we wrap this one up, I will go through these. To make this quick, we're going to get Andy Schechtman on sometime today, hopefully. First Majestic responds to inaccurate media reports and provides update on tax dispute with the government of Mexico. In order to be transparent regarding the facts surrounding the company's decision to file an NAFTA request, First Majestic has this article. I'm not going to read through the whole thing now, but I get a lot of questions on First Majestic. So if you go to firstmajesticsilver.com and then to news releases, you can hear how they responded. And you can hear what they were responding to, because here First Majestic initiates international arbitration request under NAFTA against the government of Mexico. Another press release you saw right on the page. And perhaps worth, what I will highlight, I'm not trying to be biased, I'm not a lawyer, and anyway, you can go through those other two, but I don't know, I think it's only fair. First Majestic awarded as socially responsible business in Mexico. And so I don't think this is some company, this isn't the, at least from anything I've ever seen or any of my interactions, I've gotten to know a handful of the people there well. I've never seen the big bad oil company, you know, polluting the grounds type behavior. And anyway, let's see who awarded this with the 2021 Socially Responsible Business Distinction Award, presented annually by the Mexican Center of Philanthropy and Alliance for Corporate and Social Responsibility. So there you go. As this settles out, at least someone in Mexico thinks that they are conducting themselves in an honorable fashion. And anyway, I appreciate that. I appreciate First Majestic's support of our show in bringing silver coverage. And today they brought us some bond market coverage ahead of the Fed's meeting next week. Should be an interesting one. And probably I will see you before then. So go have a great morning. And we'll be back soon with the button to end the stream, hopefully working. We'll keep, while I try and end the video, I will let you know that Andy Schechtman is going to be coming up shortly. And I think I got it to work now. Almost now.